for me personally, fitness has been more for my mental health rather than my physical health. Was it the case with you?
So I have to go back a little bit. So around the time I started a shore job, moving from a very active life on board a ship, with a good routine and, good workout schedule. And, plus, you're not sitting on a chair and working on a computer to doing precisely that.
Yep.
I started putting on a lot of weight.
Okay.
And I gained, in a couple of years' time, I gained like almost 25-30 kilos.
Wow, I can't imagine this right now.
You can see.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find it.
Okay, we'll put a picture if you allow it.
And then because of that, because when you're obese, there are other challenges that come with it. But also I've had like a lot of knee trouble.
Okay.
And then, I'd gotten to a point where, if I tried to climb 3 floors of stairs to get to the office, my knees were hurting. And then I was like concerned that, how am I going to play with my kids? How am I going to run around with them? So I was really at a point of no return. And then through some support of my, friends and, I started getting into a good fitness
schedule
regime.
Yeah.
And found a, very nice gym with some really good instructors. And then over the years, then I lost a lot of weight drastically.
Yeah, it's commendable from 25, 30 if you...
Yeah, I've lost almost 28 kilos.
Wow.
So that's been a really...
Has it changed you as a person now?
I think obviously when you're fitter, you're mentally a lot more stronger, a lot more resilient. And, you're just more confident for all scenarios. At least internally you feel better, right? So and coming to a point where I thought I'll never run again to 4 years later, in January this year, I ran my first full marathon at Tata Mumbai Marathon, 42 kilometers. For me, that was a greatest achievement.
And you were saying your knees were paining before that.
I had a lot of knee trouble. I'd gone to a lot of doctors. Some recommended surgery. Some recommended physiotherapy. So I'd given up on running. My friends, they started running and they kept asking me to join. I was like, no, I can't.
Right.
But then slowly, after some persuasion, I started off, and then now I run every day. I ran 11 kilometers this morning.
Wow. I'm feeling bad for myself right now. But why I wanted to speak to you about this was because, see, we have a lot of mental health awareness right now going on in our industry, and I think outside also it's a lot now.
I think in the world now mental health is becoming more of a challenge. It's also more people are comfortable speaking up about it. So that's why we hear about it more.
Right.
I think earlier also people had that, but it was just such a taboo topic. So nobody spoke about it.
Thank you for sharing it first. And secondly, I wanted to ask you, what are some of the practices which you do to keep yourself in a good mental space? Yeah. Do you have any practices which you follow?
So I think, for me, I think fitness is really key to a good mental health, because, when I'm running, I go in, it's like meditation for me.
Right.
I go into this zone where my head clears up and, like all the great ideas or thoughts come to my mind.
Right.
It's actually also, when you're running, your body produces endorphins. Endorphins, they numb pain, they make you feel good. So it gives you a clear head.
Right.
And that really helps me. Other than that, I've also find it hugely beneficial to do some kind of meditation.
Okay.
Now, there are thousands of apps and YouTube channels which guide you on them.
Yeah.
And I don't think any one is better than the other. I think what calls out to you, what resonates with you.
Right.
If it's Baba Ramdev, then sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it is, something else, I do something called, it's got a technical name, non-sleep deep rest.
Okay.
But basically it's like Yoga Nidra.
Yog Nidra.
Yes.
Yeah. Yog Nidra.
Yes.
Correct.
So
correct.
I've actually been doing this from the time that I was on board the ship also.
Wow.
It really helps me recharge, especially on those stressful times where,
Yes.
you're in discharging cargo for extended periods. You have to stay awake
Right.
for a long time, and, you don't get enough rest. That really helped me
Right.
like recharge. And even before it was called yoga nidra,
Yoga nidra,
or
whatever.
NSDR.
Yes.
Even before that, I was doing it, and
Right, sir.
and that really helped me. But I think from a mental health perspective, what's really important is communication, is talking about it, and not just talking about it, but also having friends, having a support network. So if you are feeling, not in a good space, then talk to someone about it. That will really help you. And, even I'm somebody who holds up things a lot.
I think
inside.
all of us, seafarers in general, do they do this a lot? Have you seen in your friends, when I'm just taking a generalized perspective, do seafarers hold on to a lot because perhaps they're very introverts?
I think so. Because, we are very, when we're sailing, our exposure is limited to our own domain. Although, we do go out and, visit different countries and explore cultures and things like that. But essentially, the people who we are close to are all the same kind, the same, seafarers.
Same thought processes.
We are very, we follow procedures.
To the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we follow the SMS, we
Yes.
follow the guidelines by IMO.
So many, I'm not.
STCW.
Let's not even go there.
So
Yes.
that by definition, that makes us that, okay, this is the procedure we want to follow. And if there's something outside of that, we are hesitant to give that a shot. So, I think that's where that hesitancy comes from. Also, I think in our culture in the East, it's still a bit taboo to talk about mental health.
Right.
I think it's really opening up now. I think the last 2 years have been really, a lot more people are more comfortable. And I think companies are also working towards making access to helplines and psychological support, employee assistance programs more accessible. We have started some, we started this a few months ago, and I was expecting, it's a voluntary webinar, and who attends a webinar. But I was really, impressed to see we had a huge uptake for it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, that means people are, more open to hear about it and learn about it and create more awareness. So that is the first step, is to create awareness, what is mental health, because most of the time, if you're going through something, you don't even know it yourself.
Absolutely. That's the biggest, I think, fall. The biggest fall is you yourself are not aware that you are in trouble.
Yeah, I can share one experience with you.
Please.
So this was in the peak of the pandemic, 21, wave 2.
The beta,
April.
that very
month
bad
of
trend,
April. I had, a long planned trek that I had gone to. I had gone to Goichala in Sikkim. It's an 11-day trek. And, that was the time that wave 2 was just coming up. I had recovered from COVID a month ago. And once we went on that trek, immediately there were no phones. So there was no information about COVID coming in. We went on that trek, beautiful setting, and it's just disconnecting completely, no contact with anyone, clean air, beautiful scenes, really refreshing. And all that was great. 11 days later, when I landed back in Delhi, and I went home, my daughter was sick at home. The cases all around had gone up to 400,000, 500,000. A lot of at work things had become really hectic. So there was just a lot of stress all around because there was uncertainty. And that was the time that unfortunately people started dying. People I knew, friends of friends, and, in my circles, so it suddenly hit me really bad. And, I realized that this is a difficult situation. So I was, keeping up with my fitness and And then, I didn't realize that it was, building up on me. And then something very strange happened, that I started feeling numbness on my fingers and my toes.
Oh.
And I Googled it, of course, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And the first response, the first result was something very serious, right? And I was convinced that I have that problem.
Yes.
I told my wife also that,
Yeah.
I think I have this issue. But anyway, I'll go and see a doctor. So I went to the doctor, a neurosurgeon. He did some checks and all that. And then he said, gave me some pills. I said, what is this for? He says, it's a lot of things are happening and, you're a fit guy. You can give me some tips about fitness. I said, yeah, but what are these pills for? Just don't worry about it. Just take it once a day and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And he said, you might have a little bit anxiety. And I was like, how can I have anxiety? I'm the one who is supporting everyone around me.
Right.
I'm the one who is, keeping it together.
Yeah.
I'm, keeping fitness and all that.
Right.
So I didn't even realize that I was under a lot of stress and it was affecting me. And
Right.
it affected me to the point where they were like physical
Symptoms happening.
symptoms that were coming up. And that's when I realized that, okay, I'm not immune to this. And it is true that there are so many things happening. And that's the time I first recognized that, it took me a few days to accept what the doctor is saying, but,
Right.
to recognize that, okay, yeah, he's right. I was under a lot of stress and, I didn't even know it myself. I was so convinced that everything is okay.
Yes. Thank you for sharing and similar experience. So that's why I could hard relate this.
Okay.
This happened while on the sea, on the ship. In fact, I've spoken about it also on my platform. No injuries, nothing has happened, but certain trigger points in my life back at home made me go into a slumber, like a pitfall. Like I didn't want to get out of it. So like a breakup or something on those things. But I thought I'm a strong man,
Yeah, that's the thing.
I am working out, gymming and doing 50 kg bench press. What is all this? I'll find someone, And because of that ego, I call it that ego problem. It became like an ego that you can do it. It's not bad. I'm not saying you can do it. You should have that strength within you. But when it exceeds, so similarly, I had started getting weird symptoms in my hands.
Okay.
And my feet. And I went to the neurosurgeon. So this is like a carbon copy speaking right now.
Yeah.
I went to a neurosurgeon. He did a full scan of, I told him my back is also aching. This is also aching. And he said, okay, we'll do a test. Nothing came up. So I was like, this guy is crazy. I mean, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm feeling the pain. Like there's something happening in my fingers, in my toes, in my back. Then he gave me few pills. Same. That's why I was like, is this me talking?
Maybe it's the same doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I had those, whatever it happened, but I had to eventually take power, like go to a therapist and sort it out, because yes, I was anxious and that isolation made it worse out at sea. So I was not resisting that. So I had to get out of it, and then the physical pain went away.
Okay.
Yes, it was not because the pill did not go. I'm not saying pills are bad, but I had to really speak it out with someone and realize that it's the stress and anxiety which is causing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for sharing
Thanks
that.
for sharing that also. And
Yeah.
and I think there's such a reluctance, even from my side, to take therapy and to talk to a psychologist. There's so much reluctance, but once you do it, then actually you realize that, okay, and that's what I tell, whoever I feel,
Yes.
in my teams and stuff, is that there's no harm. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, don't do it. There's no harm to trying it.
Right.
And now we have made it in our office. If somebody is, had a difficult conversation, in our line of work, we have, thousands of seafarers. Somebody, you have to have, when a seafarer is dealing with, either dealing with a family who's lost a loved one, somebody's in serious condition. It takes a lot on the part of the office colleague also who is talking to them.
Right.
So we made it mandatory to have at least one session.
Oh, wow.
So that we take out that inhibition after that. It's process. You have to do this.
Wonderful. I think that's a good... even for the seafarers, is it coming? Something like that is coming?
It's not mandatory, but the access is there. I mean, we have multiple platforms where people can reach out for help, and I would strongly recommend it.
Yeah.